Welcome back. We're still watching the battle between car number 24, Chris Hillaby, the 50-year-old from Hertford, the former motorcycle racer, and that of Mark Abbott, car number 4, who sneaks through now, gains a position. Mark Abbott gaining another place. He'll be very pleased with that. And Nigel Place also trying to follow him through now as well. Both of them in the Radical Pro Sport. Chris Hillaby turns in the SR3. Prevents Nigel Place gaining another position. In fact, he's now gained a place back as Chris Hillaby. And as a result of that, Mark Abbott has now lost a further position because through has gone Nigel Place. Gained one briefly, then has lost two. He'll want to try and fight back and regain the momentum and the advantage if at all he can. Keep your eye also on the red car that was just coming through into shot there. That is Colin Miller still fighting his way up through the order. And there goes car number 39, Paul Marsham. He's still fighting away with Gary Baxter, both of them in SR3s. Here comes car number 25. That is the Club Sport class leading car in the hands of Andrew Harwood. The Club Sport caters for the Kawasaki engined machines, running either the 11 or 1200cc engine and producing somewhere between 185 and 195 brake horsepower. The conditions continuing to improve as well here at Snetterton. As we can see now, Colin Miller has got up onto terms with Mark Abbott, gains another position. The man from the very rear of the field is carving his way through it, and before too much longer is going to be up inside the top 6 if things go to plan, because he's working his way through very well indeed at the moment. Mark Abbott fighting back as they head down the Revitt Straight. Abbott isn't done with it as yet. Colin Miller in danger of losing the place yet again. They head in towards the S's now. He'll squeeze Mark Abbott out, I'm sure, and therefore has now gained the position. Here comes Darren Luke, our race leader, still pressing on. Steve Burgess, number 2, in second place. Rachel Davis is still there in third place currently, but she's a little bit further back from those around her. And Colin Miller still managing to fight his way through the traffic. Looks as though he's gained another place as well as they've tried to lap the back marker. Graham Widgway was that back marker. Nigel Place couldn't quite squeeze his way through. There's a spin also for number 74. That's the teenager, the 16-year-old James Abbott, man from Bourne, student who we've seen out in karting sporadically. And that is number 23. That's poor old Tom Ashton in the pits. So Tom Ashton not having the best of races. Here goes Steve Burgess. He's still there in second place, but Darren Luke it is that leads. Steve Burgess second. You can see how much the circuit has dried compared to the start of the race. And certainly for those cars that started on wet tyres, they'll be getting very warm wet tyres now, and the handling will be really drifting away. Darren Luke at the moment still going very well indeed at the wheel of the new car for him for 2010. He heads into the braking area for the Russell chicane. There's Steve Burgess in second. Rachel Davis going superbly well in what is a new car for her for this season, the SR3. She sits there in third. As still Colin Miller is feeding his way up through the order. That's Chris Woolhead he's gained a place on. Another position gained for Colin Miller. He's still not quite inside the top 6 at the moment. They also put a lap on the Club Sport class leader, that being number 25, Andrew Harwood, in the process. Here's the battle for the lead of the invitation class as well. It's David Franklin and Tim Porter. Tim Porter, number 53, that orange machine fighting away. They've got back marker ahead of them. That looks like it's Vincent Rassat in the Club Sport. He's looking in his mirrors and he's going to try and stay as best he can out the way. He bumbles across the curbs and doesn't disturb what is the battle for the sharp end of the invitation class at all. Gary Baxter is the third of the car in that little train. He's, however, resides in the Supersports class. Here comes Colin Miller. This charge from the rear of the field still continuing. He's ahead of Ray Woolhead, which means he's in 6th place. There's a spin and Nigel Place makes contact with, I think that's Mark Abbott. Both of the cars off the circuit. Nigel Place almost slap bang on the apex. All over the grass goes Tom Ashton. We saw him in the pits a few moments ago. Nigel Place manages to fire his Radical PR6 back into life. He will continue round, as does car number 24, which is Chris Hillaby, about to put a lap on number 40, Mark White. Chris Hillaby going very well indeed. He's inside the top 8. He feeds the SR3 out of Russell. And somebody coming very slowly through round past Coram. That car crabbing as well. That's Mark Abbott. That contact has obviously damaged the rear of the PR6, and surely Mark Abbott is destined for the pits indeed. Hand aloft and into the pits, and retirement goes Mark Abbott. He'll take no further part in the race. That was a real shame because he was battling away, as we can see now, with Nigel Place. Nigel Place spins, and poor old Mark Abbott was very much the innocent party in that one, but retirement is spelt for him. As for the fight for third and fourth, well, it's absolutely raging now. Rachel Davis has got hooked on the rear end, Simon Fish. He's trying to gain a place through Russell And onto the centre straight once more, as this time Simon Fish gets a very good run on Rachel Davis. We've seen Rachel Davis out in a Radical SR4 in the Bi-Euro class before. She's got one further lap to hang on to third position. We're right on board with Darren Luke still leading the race overall, the 38-year-old, the 2008 750 Motor Club Bike Sports champion, who's already claimed one victory so far this weekend. He also claimed a couple of victories at the first few rounds at Rockingham as well, and Darren Luke in this new car is going very well indeed this season. You see him just hanging on to the wet part of the circuit. Darren Luke clearly just trying to cool those wet tyres down as they're starting to overheat on the ever-drying track. Steve Burgess there in second place. Then watch this battle for third and fourth. Rachel Davis still fighting away with Simon Fish, and Rachel Davis, the 19-year-old from Evesham, is having to work unbelievably hard to keep Simon Fish at bay. However, our race leader Darren Luke heading round out of the bomb hole for the final time. Simon Fish again just having another quick look at Rachel Davis. Is he going to be able to squeeze through as they approach Russell for the final time? Here comes Darren Luke. Surely he's going to claim the victory. He accelerates out of the Russell chicane, and in the drying conditions, very wet when they started, but dry almost by the time they finished. Darren Luke comes through and claims the honours. Steve Burgess in second, and Rachel Davis and Simon Fish cross the line in third and fourth places, respectively. We wait the arrival of the next of the cars to come through, and it should be, I think, Colin Miller, who has hoisted himself well and truly up through the order. That's Chris Hillaby. He'll come through just outside of the top six ultimately, but Colin Miller already over the start-finish line from the very rear of the grid will finish in fifth place. So Darren Luke it is that claims the overall honours, with Steve Burgess coming through in second place and claiming the Super Sports class in the process, and Rachel Davis completes the top three. Our four class winners on the podium, Darren Luke in the centre. Let's hear from the Super Sports class winner, Steve Burgess.
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Like I say, Darren went off at a good pace, and I was struggling to keep with him. Then after a few laps, I think his tyre started to go off, so I managed to rein him in a bit, but then I had to suffer from the same problem. So then I thought, well, I had a good gap behind me, and just thought set for pace and go for the class win. But then with about 3 or 4 laps towards the end, I could see them in the mirrors coming, so I thought I'd start pushing again just till the checkered flag.
And looking forward to the fourth race of the weekend then. You're going to have pressure from some of the faster competitors who had problems this weekend. You've got to be watching your back, aren't you? Yeah,
it should be a good battle for the last one. Obviously, hopefully, Touchwood will all be on slicks for the last one, and it should be a good battle.
David Franklin had a great battle to claim invitation class honours. Let's hear from him.
A good start and made up quite a few places. It was a good choice to go out on brand new wet, so I was really pleased to do that. Had a tremendous ding-dong with Tim Porter in the orange Club Sport, but I think at the end of the day the wily old fat old bloke just managed to get ahead, so we had a bit of contact right at the end. My fault, so I've got to go and make my apologies now.